The day I lost my wallet. Have you ever felt that sudden panic when you reach for your wallet and it's not there? That moment when your heart drops to your stomach and time freezes? Today's story will take you on a wild adventure through the chaos, panic, and unexpected surprises that happen when you lose something important. Stay tuned until the end for valuable vocabulary that will boost your English skills. Don't forget to subscribe to Story-Driven English for more engaging stories that make learning English fun and effortless. It was supposed to be just another ordinary Monday morning. The sun peeked through my curtains, birds chirped outside my window, and my alarm blared with its usual annoying persistence. I hit the snooze button twice before finally dragging myself out of bed. Little did I know that this seemingly normal day would turn into one of the most chaotic, stressful, and surprisingly enlightening days of my life. My name is Alex, and I'm what people might call a creature of habit. Every morning I follow the exact same routine: shower, brush teeth, get dressed, grab breakfast, check that I have my phone, keys, and wallet, and then head out the door. This routine has served me well for years, keeping me organized and punctual. But on this particular Monday, something went terribly wrong. The morning started like any other. I woke up late as usual and rushed through my routine. I had an important meeting at work at 9 a.m., and my boss, Mr. Peterson, had specifically asked me to arrive early to prepare the conference room. Mr. Peterson was not a patient man, and the last thing I wanted was to get on his bad side. I quickly showered, threw on my best blue suit, and grabbed a piece of toast for the road. As I was about to leave my apartment, I did my usual pat-down check. Phone in left pocket, keys in right. Pocket and wallet. Wait, where was my wallet? I patted my back pocket. Nothing. I checked my other pockets, still nothing. A small wave of concern washed over me, but I wasn't panicking yet. It's probably on the kitchen counter, I reassured myself. I rushed back to the kitchen and scanned the countertops. No wallet. I checked the coffee table in the living room, not there either. I looked inside the refrigerator. Sometimes when I'm really tired, I put things in strange places. Nope, not in there. I rummaged through yesterday's pants pockets. Empty. Now the panic was starting to set in. My wallet contained everything important: my driver's license, credit cards, debit card, health insurance card, and about $200 in cash that I'd withdrawn for the week's expenses. Plus, there was that photo of my dog, Max, when he was just a puppy. It was irreplaceable. I glanced at my watch. 8:15 a.m. The meeting was at 9 a.m., and it would take me at least 30 minutes to get to the office. I had 15 minutes to find my wallet or decide what to do without it. Think, Alex, think, I muttered to myself. Where did you last see it? I tried to retrace my steps from the previous day. Sunday had been a busy day. I had gone grocery shopping in the morning, then met my friend Emma for lunch at that new cafe downtown. And in the evening, I had taken Max for a long walk in the park. I definitely remembered using my wallet at the grocery store and at the cafe. But after that, my memory was fuzzy. I decided to call Emma. Maybe she remembered something I didn't. Hey, Alex, what's up? Emma answered cheerfully. Emma, I'm in trouble. I can't find my wallet, and I have an important meeting in less than an hour. Do you remember if I had my wallet when we said goodbye yesterday? Emma paused, thinking. Yes, I'm pretty sure you did. You paid for both our coffees, remember? And then you put your wallet back in your pocket before we left. That's right, thanks, Emma. I must have lost it after that, maybe during Max's walk. After hanging up, I decided to do one last thorough search of my apartment before heading out. I looked under the couch cushions, inside the washing machine. It wouldn't be the first time I'd accidentally left something in my pockets. And even checked Max's bed. He sometimes likes to collect things. As I was searching, I remembered something important. My smartwatch had a feature that could help me locate my phone if I ever lost it, but it couldn't help me find my wallet. Or could it? A light bulb went off in my head. Last birthday, my tech-savvy sister had gifted me a small tracking device that I'd attached to my wallet. I had completely forgotten about it until now. I quickly grabbed my phone and opened the tracking app. It took a few seconds to load, and then a small dot appeared on the map. My wallet was at the park. That's strange. I must have dropped it. During Max's walk, I looked at my watch again. 8:25 a.m. There was no way I could go to the park, retrieve my wallet, and make it to the meeting on time. I had to make a choice. I decided to call my colleague, Sophia, who was also attending the meeting. Sophia, I have an emergency. I lost my wallet and I think it's at the park. Can you cover for me at the meeting? Tell Mr. Peterson I'll be there as soon as possible. Oh no, Alex, that's terrible, Sophia said sympathetically. Don't worry, I'll handle Mr. Peterson. Just find your wallet and get here when you can. Relief washed over me. Sophia was a lifesaver. I grabbed Max's leash, he might as well come along since he loved the park, and we rushed out the door. The park was a 15-minute walk from my apartment, but I managed to get there in 10, practically dragging. Poor Max behind me. According to the tracking app, my wallet was near the duck pond, a popular spot where I often let Max run around. As we approached the pond, I slowed down and began scanning the ground carefully. The tracking app showed that I was getting closer, but I couldn't see my wallet anywhere. There were a few early morning joggers and an elderly man feeding the ducks, but no sign of a lost wallet. I decided to ask if anyone had seen it. I approached the elderly man first. Excuse me, sir. I think I lost my wallet around here yesterday evening. It's brown leather with a small tracking device attached. Have you seen anything like that? The man looked at me with kind eyes. No, young man, I haven't. But I just got here. Maybe ask that park ranger over there, he suggested, pointing toward a woman in uniform. I thanked him and hurried over to the ranger, with Max trotting happily beside me, oblivious to my stress. Good morning, I said, slightly out of breath. I lost my wallet here yesterday evening, and my tracking app says it should be around here somewhere. Have you found any lost items recently? The ranger, whose name tag read Ranger Martinez, smiled. Actually, yes. A young girl turned in a wallet yesterday evening. She found it near the pond. Let me check if it's yours. My heart raced with hope as Ranger Martinez radioed her colleague at the park office. After what felt like an eternity, but was probably just a minute, she nodded. Good news. They have a brown leather wallet in the lost and found. You can pick it up at the main office near the east entrance. I couldn't believe my luck. Thank you so much, I exclaimed, all ready, turning to head toward the east entrance. Max barked as if he too was excited by the good news. The park office was a small wooden building that I'd passed many times but never entered. Inside, a friendly-looking man sat behind a desk. "Hi, I'm here to pick up my lost wallet," I said, eagerly. "Ranger Martinez just told me it was turned in yesterday." "Of course," the man said, opening a drawer. "Can you describe it and maybe tell me what's inside? Just to verify it's yours." It's a brown leather wallet with a small tracking device attached to it. Inside, there should be my driver's license with the name Alexander Mitchell, several credit cards, about $200 in cash, and a photo of my dog when he was a puppy. The man nodded and pulled out my wallet. "That matches our description. Let me just see your ID to confirm." I froze. "My ID is in the wallet," the man chuckled. "Right, of course. Well, the photo on the license does look like you. And the dog. And the picture looks like this little guy," he said, gesturing to Max. "Plus, not many people would know about the tracking device. I think we can safely say it's yours." Relief flooded through me as he handed over my wallet. I quickly checked inside. Everything was there, even the cash. "A young girl named Lily found it," the man explained. "She was feeding the ducks with her mother when she spotted it in the grass. Her mother brought it here right away." "That's incredible," I said, genuinely touched by their honesty. "Is there any way I can thank them?" "They left their contact information if the owner wanted to reach out," he said, sliding a piece of paper toward me. "They didn't ask for anything in return, though." I took the paper and tucked it safely into my wallet. I would definitely contact them later to express my gratitude properly. Glancing at my watch, I saw it was already 8:50 a.m. There was no way I would make it to the meeting on time, but at least I had found my wallet. I thanked the park office attendant profusely and headed out. As I was walking back toward the park exit, my phone rang. It was Sophia. "Alex, where are you? Mr. Peterson is asking for you. The client arrived early and the meeting is about to start." "I found my wallet," I said excitedly. "But I'm still at the park. There's no way I'll make it in time." There was a brief silence on the other end. Then Sophia said something that made my heart sink. "Mr. Peterson says if you're not here in 15 minutes, don't bother coming in at all." The implications were clear. This meeting was with a potential big client, and my presence was crucial. If I missed it, my job could be on the line. I looked down at Max, who was happily sniffing at a nearby tree, blissfully unaware of my professional crisis. Then I looked at my wallet, which I was still clutching tightly in my hand. An idea formed in my mind. "Sophia, tell Mr. Peterson I'll be there. I just need to make one quick stop." I ended the call before she could respond, and started running toward the park exit, urging Max to keep up. We reached the main road in record time, and I frantically looked for a taxi. Luckily, one was just dropping off a passenger nearby. "Taxi!" I shouted, waving my arm wildly. The driver saw me and pulled over. "I need to get to the Riverside office complex as fast as possible," I said, opening the door. "And, is it okay if my dog comes too? He's very well behaved." The driver, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, looked at Max and then at me. "Usually, I don't allow pets, but he looks clean and you seem desperate. Hop in, both of you." I thanked, her profusely as Max and I climbed into the back seat. As the taxi pulled away from the curb, I mentally calculated the time. It was 8:55 a.m., and the office was about 20 minutes away in normal traffic. But the morning rush hour would make it more like 30 minutes. I needed a miracle. As if reading my mind, the taxi driver asked, "In a hurry, huh?" "Yes," I replied. "I have an extremely important meeting at 9 a.m., and my boss said if I'm not there in 15 minutes, I shouldn't bother coming in at all." The driver nodded, a determined look crossing her face. "I know a few shortcuts. Hold on tight." What followed was the most exhilarating and terrifying taxi ride of my life. The driver, who introduced herself as Maria, knew the city like the back of her hand. She zipped through side streets I didn't even know existed, expertly navigated through traffic, and somehow managed to hit mostly green lights. Max seemed to enjoy the adventure, his head hanging out the window, ears flapping in the wind. I, on the other hand, was clutching the seat with white knuckles, alternating between watching the road and checking my watch. "Almost there," Maria announced as we turned onto the street where my office building was located. It was 9:08 a.m. We had made incredible time, but I was still late. "Thank you so much," I said, reaching for my wallet to pay the fare. But Maria shook her head. "I've got a daughter who works in an office. I know how bosses can be. This one's on me. Just promise you'll be kind to the next person you meet who's having a bad day." I was speechless. Thank you. "I promise," I finally managed to say. I rushed out of the taxi, Max's leash in one hand and my wallet safely tucked in my pocket. But as I approached the building's entrance, a new problem dawned on me. Dogs weren't allowed in the office. I stood there, frozen with indecision. I couldn't leave Max outside, but I couldn't miss this meeting either. Just as I was about to give up, a familiar voice called my name. "Alex, over here." It was Sophia, waving frantically from the entrance. She ran over to me. "The meeting just started," she whispered urgently. "Mr. Peterson is stalling, but you need to get in there now. What's with the dog?" I quickly explained my predicament. Sophia thought for a moment, then snapped her fingers. "Mrs. Henderson in accounting loves dogs. She has a little corner office with a door. Maybe Max can stay with her while you're in the meeting." It was a long shot, but I had no other options. We rushed inside, taking the stairs instead of waiting for the elevator. Luckily, Mrs. Henderson was at her desk when we knocked on her office door. "Mrs. Henderson, I know this is unusual, but I have an emergency." I began, slightly out of breath. "This is my dog, Max. Could he possibly stay in your office while I attend a crucial meeting? I promise he's very well behaved." Mrs. Henderson looked surprised, but then her face softened as she looked at Max, who was sitting politely and wagging his tail. "Well, aren't you a handsome fellow?" she cooed, reaching out to pat Max's head. "Of course he can stay. I have some water and even a few dog treats in my drawer from when my daughter visits with her pup." I couldn't believe my luck. "Thank you so much. I'll be back as soon as the meeting is over." With Max safely settled with Mrs. Henderson, Sophia and I sprinted to the conference room. It was 9:12 a.m. when I finally burst through the door, trying to look composed despite my racing heart and slightly disheveled appearance. Mr. Peterson was in the middle of a sentence but stopped abruptly when I entered. The clients, 3 serious-looking individuals in expensive suits, turned to look at me. Here's our project lead now," Mr. Peterson said smoothly, though his eyes told me I would hear about this later. "Alex, please join us." I took my seat and tried to catch my breath discreetly. Sophia, who had entered right behind me, slid a folder across the table. "Your presentation," she whispered with a wink. I opened the folder to find all the materials I had prepared the previous week. Sophia had organized everything perfectly. I made a mental note to buy her the biggest coffee and pastry our office cafe offered. As I began my part of the presentation, I could feel the adrenaline from the morning's adventure still coursing through me. Strangely, instead of making me nervous, it gave me an unusual burst of confidence. I spoke with more enthusiasm and clarity than I ever had before, engaging the clients with anecdotes and insights that seemed to come out of nowhere. The clients, who had initially seemed stern and unimpressed, began to show interest. They asked questions, nodded along with my points, and even laughed at a joke I made. By the end of my presentation, the atmosphere in the room had completely changed. After the meeting concluded, the lead client, Ms. Thompson, approached me. "That was quite impressive, Alex. Your passion for this project is evident. We'll be in touch soon, but I think it's safe to say we're leaning strongly toward working with your team." I thanked her, trying to contain my excitement. After the clients left, Mr. Peterson pulled me aside. I braced myself for the reprimand I knew was coming. "You were late," he stated flatly. "Yes, sir. I apologize. I had an emergency this morning." To my surprise, instead of scolding me, he said, "Whatever happened this morning, it lit a fire under you. That was the best presentation I've seen you give. The clients were practically eating out of your hand." He paused, then added with a slight smile, "Just don't make a habit of being late." "I won't, sir, thank you," I replied, relieved. As soon as Mr. Peterson walked away, Sophia rushed over to me, her eyes wide with excitement. "That was amazing. The clients loved you. What happened to you this morning? You were like a different person in there." I laughed and briefly recounted my adventure with the lost wallet, the kind people who had helped me along the way, and of course Max's unexpected office visit. Speaking of Max, I should go get him from Mrs. Henderson's office, I said, suddenly remembering. When we arrived at Mrs. Henderson's office, I was greeted by an unexpected sight. Max was lying contentedly at Mrs. Henderson's feet while she worked, occasionally tossing him a treat. They both looked up when I entered, and Max's tail immediately started wagging furiously. "He's such a dear," Mrs. Henderson said, smiling fondly at Max. "He's been perfectly behaved. Feel free to bring him again, sometime." I thanked her profusely before collecting Max and his leash. As we were leaving the office building, Sophia suggested we celebrate the successful meeting with lunch. "I know a great dog-friendly cafe just down the street," she said. My treat. The cafe was charming, with a spacious outdoor seating area, where several other patrons had their dogs with them. Max quickly made friends with a friendly golden retriever at the next table, while Sophia and I ordered sandwiches. As we ate, I couldn't help but reflect on the day's events. What had started as a disaster, losing my wallet, had led to a chain of encounters with kind strangers, an exhilarating race against time, and ultimately, one of the best presentations of my career. "You know," I said to Sophia between bites, "I think losing my wallet was actually the best thing that could have happened to me today." Sophia raised an eyebrow. "How do you figure that?" It made me realize how many good people there are in the world. The girl who found my wallet and turned it in, the park ranger who helped me, the taxi driver who wouldn't accept payment, Mrs. Henderson who watched Max, even you, covering for me in the meeting. Everyone went out of their way to help me. Sophia smiled. Sometimes it takes a crisis to show us the kindness that's around us every day. I nodded, thinking about what the taxi driver had said. I promised to be kind to the next person I met who was having a bad day, and I intended to keep that promise. But I also wanted to do more. After lunch, I returned to my apartment with Max and sat down at my computer. First, I looked up the contact information for Lily, the young girl who had found my wallet, and her mother. I wrote them a heartfelt thank you email and arranged to send Lily a gift card to her favorite bookstore. Next, I wrote a positive review for Maria, the taxi driver, on the taxi company's website, praising her knowledge of the city and her kindness. Then, I ordered a large box of gourmet dog treats to be delivered to Mrs. Henderson's office with a thank you note. And finally, I sent an email to Sophia, inviting her to dinner that weekend as a proper thank you for saving me in the meeting. As I finished sending the last email, I leaned back in my chair, feeling a sense of contentment wash over me. Max jumped onto my lap, and I scratched behind his ears, causing his tail to thump rhythmically against my leg. "You know, Max," I said, "today taught me something important. Losing something valuable can help you find something even more valuable. The goodness in people." Max looked up at me with his big brown eyes as if he understood every word. From that day on, I made a few changes to my routine. I still followed my morning checklist, but I added a few new items. Be prepared for the unexpected, and look for opportunities to be kind. I also attached a second tracking device to my wallet, just in case. But the biggest change was in my outlook. I became more observant of the people around me, more appreciative of small kindnesses, and more willing to step out of my comfort zone to help others. I volunteered at the local animal shelter, befriended my elderly neighbor who needed help with groceries, and even organized a neighborhood cleanup at the park where I had lost my wallet. It's funny how losing something can lead to gaining so much more. That chaotic Monday taught me that sometimes the worst days can turn into the best days, depending on how you look at them and the people you encounter along the way. And it all started with a missing wallet and a rushed morning. So the next time you find yourself in a panic because you've lost something important, remember my story. Take a deep breath, retrace your steps, and be open to the unexpected journey it might take you on. You never know what or who you might find along the way. Key vocabulary, repeated throughout. Wallet. A small, flat case used to carry personal items such as money, cards, and identification. Panic. A sudden, overwhelming feeling of fear or anxiety. Routine. A sequence of actions regularly followed. Retrace. To go back over a route or sequence of events. Tracking device. A small electronic item that can be located using GPS or other technology. Lost and found. A place where lost items are stored until they're claimed by their owners. Crisis. A time of intense difficulty or danger. Punctual. Arriving or happening at the expected or scheduled time. Deadline. The latest time by which something should be completed. Relief. A feeling of reassurance and relaxation following release from anxiety. Or distress, kindness. The quality of being friendly, generous and considerate. Gratitude. The feeling of being thankful and appreciative. Chaos. Complete disorder and confusion. Encounter. An unexpected or casual meeting with someone or something. Opportunity. A time or set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. Thank you so much for joining us for this story-driven English adventure. Did you enjoy The Day I Lost My Wallet? What would you have done in Alex's situation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you learned some new vocabulary or enjoyed the story, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend who's also learning English. Don't forget to subscribe to Story Driven English for a new story every week that will help you improve your English in the most enjoyable way possible. Click that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Until next time, keep reading, keep listening, and keep learning.